it can be something very dramatic, students or tourists who have gone abroad and find themselves in a conflict zone. That's happened in Ukraine, people who went to work, it happened to them in Sudan, it happened to people who were researchers in Israel. But it could be the quality of your life. Foreign policy, for example, makes sure that your petrol prices are kept lower. It ensures that the Apple phone, which many of you are probably holding in your hand or keeping in your pocket, is made in India. There are, depending on what you do in life, somewhere or the other, some part of what is happening in the world impinges on us, and therefore I was very encouraged to see that awareness when the topic was, how does Northeast India really interact much more closely with Southeast Asia, which is a proximate region, and with Japan. That same awareness seemed to be there, and is something which I very much welcome. Now, in looking at the subject, I actually want you to reflect a little bit on history, because we naturally assume that the situation that we are in, that's like a starting point. We don't think too much, how did we land up in that situation in the first place? Why are the challenges of the day the challenges? And I want you to think back actually about the consequences of the partition. Now you would ask me saying, okay, what's the connection here? We're talking Northeast India and areas east of India. And the answer is that actually the partition of India in many ways broke or undermined a lot of the natural connectivity that the northeast of India had enjoyed and would have enjoyed otherwise. And as a result of that, actually, if you look at the early years, the first few decades of after our partition, after we got independence, the levels of growth that the Northeast India should have seen, we actually saw that stunted. We saw that stunted because they did not enjoy all the advantages which many other parts of India had, simply because, as I said, there were political barriers, there were administrative issues, and therefore, in a way, what we are seeing now is something which, quite honestly, should have come much earlier if history had been kinder to us. So when I look in terms of, what has changed, to me, of course, step one, we speak about look east. I always tell people for India to look east, Delhi should first look east. Delhi should look east and see the northeast. And it is when the potential and the possibilities of the northeast are fully appreciated. That is actually when the look east and the act east policies become serious. The second, as I said, is to mitigate the challenges which came out of the partition. And there, what had happened, fortunately, was that, East Pakistan became Bangladesh. Then there was a difficult period even with Bangladesh. But if you look at the last decade, Northeast India has actually been a big beneficiary of this dramatic improvement in India-Bangladesh ties. That when we did the land boundary agreement in 2015, once things settled down, there was a new level of trust and confidence between India and Bangladesh. You saw a lot of other problems being resolved, particularly problems dealing with terrorism, problems dealing with instability. Because at the end of the day, until there is, stability, there is law and order, there is good governance, then other benefits of development and prosperity do not happen. So what we have actually seen since 2015 has been initially a rebuilding of what you can say was the pre-65. Because what happened in the 1965 was, in the 65 war, East Pakistan cut off all the connections which was then with the rest of India. So the rail links, the road links. So the initial challenge was, okay, get that back. So what we have seen really with Bangladesh is road connectivity, rail connectivity, the fact that today trains, buses take, move from this side to that side. The use of their ports, because, those ports like Mongla or Chittagong, they would have been actually the natural ports for the Northeast, if you look at it geographically. But those ports, for political reasons, could not be accessed by us. Today, when we look at the possibilities which have opened up for the Northeast, actually, the enormous improvement in India-Bangladesh relations has actually opened up many more opportunities there. The second natural, I would say, opening for us is, of course, Myanmar. Now, in the case of Myanmar, we have done our best, and again, there are projects there which could be game-changing. Probably the most important one among them is what is called the India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway. If the trilateral, or I would say when the trilateral highway is built, because parts of it have been built, there are gaps which are missing today. When the trilateral highway is complete, actually there is, for the first time, the possibility of smooth logistics movement all the way from, I would say, India till actually the Vietnam coast. Because on that side, the roads are growing, the connectivity is happening. So if we can somehow get through the Myanmar challenge, the possibility actually of a connectivity corridor which will run down the lateral of Southeast Asia, coming all the way actually into the Indian heartland, that is something which would happen. Myanmar, as I said, has been a great challenge till there was a restoration of democracy. We had one set of problems. Last few years, after the military has taken over, there's been, in fact, a new set of problems, in many ways more serious. And obviously, today for us, while we are also mitigating its consequences on our own border, there is the larger stakes that we have about connectivity through Myanmar. If all of this works, think about it. Once the Northeast gets connectivity eastwards through Myanmar, southwards